Have you ever felt it? That invisible wall that rises in the middle of a conversation. You're trying to connect, to understand, to be seen as more than just another face in the crowd. But your words seem to bounce off, hollow and ineffective. You ask about her day, her job, her hobbies, and you get polite, rehearsed answers. The conversation skims the surface, never dipping into the depths where real connection happens. You leave feeling frustrated, unseen, and wondering what you're missing. The truth is, most of us have been taught to talk, but not to listen. We've been taught to present ourselves, but not how to invite another soul to reveal itself. We believe attraction is built on what we say about ourselves, the stories we tell, the achievements we list. But what if the greatest power, the most profound source of connection, lies not in what you declare, but in what you can gently unveil in another? Imagine for a moment that a person's inner world is like a vast, ancient library, filled with stories, emotions, and hidden truths. Most people walk up to the front desk and ask for the most popular book. They get the summary, the public version, the story told 1,000 times. But the true scholar, the emotional archaeologist, knows that the real treasures are in the restricted sections, in the uncatalogued archives of the heart. He doesn't demand access. He demonstrates a reverence for the knowledge within. He asks the kinds of questions that show he's not just a tourist, he is a fellow seeker of truth. He becomes the kind of person to whom the librarian willingly hands the keys. This is the art we are exploring today. It's a quiet power, a form of conversational alchemy that turns small talk into soul talk. Niccolò Machiavelli, a master observer of human nature, hinted at this when he wrote, "The man who asks the right questions never begs for answers." He observes as her soul reveals itself. This isn't about manipulation, it's about perception. It's about understanding that a woman, like any person, connects emotionally, not with the man who tries to impress her, but with the man who creates a space safe enough for her to impress herself with her own depth. This journey into the heart of connection, into the psychology of profound curiosity, is what we are dedicated to here at Mind Decode Explained. We believe that understanding the mind is the key to healing the heart and building the bonds we all crave. If this idea of becoming an emotional archaeologist, of learning the language of the soul, is already sparking a new perspective for you, take a moment to subscribe. We journey through these intricate landscapes of the mind together, exploring the hidden maps that lead to genuine connection. Today, we will gift you 10 keys. 10 questions designed not as tricks, but as invitations. They may seem simple on the surface, but each is crafted to bypass the logical, guarded mind and speak directly to the emotional core, the limbic brain, where feelings of attachment, desire, and intrigue are born. These aren't pickup lines. They are probes of perception. They are designed to create a unique emotional experience with you, an experience of being seen in a way that is both thrilling and deeply comforting. This is not for the faint of heart or for those looking for cheap tricks. This is for the man who understands that true seduction is not about what you say, but about the emotional world you open up for her and for yourself. So, listen closely. Let go of the need to perform and embrace the power of quiet, intentional curiosity. Let's begin our excavation. The first key is designed to unlock the past, not for the sake of history, but to understand the emotional imprint that defines her attractions. Most men ask, "What's your type?" It's a boring, logical question that invites a boring, logical answer. You, however, will go deeper. At a moment of quiet connection, you will ask, who was the man you found hardest to forget, even if you knew he wasn't necessarily good for you? This question is a direct incursion into her emotional subconscious. You are not asking for her ideal. You are asking for her addiction. You are inviting her to reconnect with the archetype of the man who left a scar, not because of his kindness, but because of the emotional intensity he ignited. Think about the psychology of this. The human mind, as studied by researchers in attachment theory like John Bowlby, doesn't just remember events, it remembers feelings. Intense emotional experiences, both positive and negative, create what are known as flashbulb memories. They are seared into our neural pathways. By asking this question, you are inviting her to access one of those powerful memories. Almost every woman has an experience with a man who was perhaps emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, or challenging, yet utterly magnetic. A man who made her feel intensely alive, desired, or confused. A storm of emotion that, while potentially destructive, awakened parts of her that a nice guy could never reach. He represents what Carl Jung would call a shadow projection, an embodiment of the untamed, risky, and exciting parts of her own psyche that she might not consciously acknowledge. When you ask this question, you are giving her permission to look at that shadow. You are saying, "I'm not afraid of your complexity. I'm intrigued by it." And what happens as she answers? As she retrieves that memory, her brain doesn't just recall the facts. It begins to re-experience the feelings, the adrenaline, the longing, the intensity. And who is sitting in front of her as her brain is flooded with these powerful emotions? You are. Through a process called emotional transference, she begins to associate you with the very depth and intensity she is describing. You become the catalyst, the one who wasn't afraid to open that door. You immediately differentiate yourself from every man who only wanted to hear about her triumphs and her socially acceptable desires. But this requires immense skill in the execution. As she speaks, you must become a sanctuary of non-judgment. If she describes a man who treated her poorly, you do not criticize him or rescue her. That would be condescending. You simply listen. Your silence becomes your most powerful tool. Maintain soft, unwavering eye contact. Nod gently. You might say something like, "That must have been an intense time," or "That reveals a lot about the depth of your feelings." These phrases validate her experience without judging it. You are not her therapist. You are her confidant in this moment. After she finishes, resist the urge to share a similar story of your own. This is not a competition. This is her moment of revelation. Simply absorb what she said, and with a calm, knowing smile you can say, "Thank you for sharing that. I feel like I understand a more real part of you now." With that, you have transitioned from a potential suitor to a potential soulmate in her subconscious mind. You are now linked to that powerful, unforgettable feeling. The second key opens a door she may not even know exists. It invites her to explore her own edge, her own capacity for the thrilling and the forbidden. You ask, "What's the most dangerous thing someone has ever awakened in you?" This question is a quiet explosion. It's a masterclass in psychological framing. You are not asking, "What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?" That's a question about behavior. You are asking about something that was awakened in her. This phrasing subtly removes blame and judgment and instead frames her as a vessel of deep, powerful potential. It suggests she has dormant energies within her, waiting for the right person to call them forth. And by asking the question, you are implicitly positioning yourself as someone who might just be that person. Her mind will momentarily freeze. It's a question no one has ever asked. It bypasses her rehearsed social scripts and forces her into a state of pure introspection. The word dangerous is key. It's not negative or bad. Dangerous is thrilling. It hints at risk, passion, and a departure from the mundane. It speaks the language of the limbic system, not the prefrontal cortex. She might laugh nervously and say, "I don't think I can tell you that." This is not a rejection. It is a test. It's an invitation for you to prove you can handle her truth. Your response is critical. You don't push. You lean back, smile gently, and say something like, "That's okay. Sometimes the most beautiful things are a little dangerous." In that moment, you have done something profound. You have created what psychologist Brené Brown calls a space for vulnerability. You've communicated that you are not afraid of her darkness, her complexity, or her intensity. In fact, you find it beautiful. For a woman who has spent her life being told to be nice, sweet, and agreeable, this is like a drink of water in a desert. It creates a powerful cocktail of emotional safety mixed with exhilarating risk. That combination is the very essence of deep, passionate attraction. Let's dissect the power here. Firstly, it creates a shared secret space, even if she doesn't tell you the secret. The very act of her considering it, of her holding that dangerous thought in her mind while looking at you, creates a conspiratorial intimacy. Secondly, it employs the psychological principle of priming. By introducing the concepts of danger and awakening into the conversation, you are priming her to see you through that lens. Her mind starts to wonder, what could this man awaken in me? You become a mystery she wants to solve. A Machiavellian twist, if the moment feels right, is to follow her response or her hesitation with a quiet, observant comment. It's fascinating. I have a feeling you're hiding something even more dangerous than what you're thinking of. This is a gentle challenge wrapped in a compliment. It's playful, it creates intrigue, and it subtly flips the script. Now she's not just thinking about her own danger, she's wondering about yours. That unspoken tension, that game of hidden depths, is incredibly compelling. You're no longer just a man asking a question. You are the embodiment of the mystery itself. The third key is a masterpiece of subtlety. It's about learning her secret language, the one she speaks, not with her mouth, but with her entire being. You ask, what are the little signals your body gives away when you're starting to feel drawn to someone, but you're trying not to show it? This question is strategically brilliant because it grants you access to a realm most men are blind to. The world of nonverbal tells and micro-expressions, a field famously studied by psychologist Paul Ekman. You are essentially asking her to hand you the instruction manual to her subconscious expressions of desire, but you are framing it in a way that is hypothetical, intelligent, and deeply observant. You are saying, without saying it, I see more than the average person. I'm interested in the truth beneath the surface. Show me how to read you. This immediately puts her in a state of heightened self-awareness. She has to mentally scan her own past behaviors. What do I do? She might blush, laugh, look away, touch her neck, and in doing so, she might just be demonstrating the very signals she's about to describe. As an observer, you aren't watching her like a hawk, waiting to pounce. You are watching her with the calm curiosity of a scientist who finds the data beautiful. You are communicating that you are a man who notices the little things, and that is an incredibly attractive trait. Why is this so powerful? It creates a state of metacognition, or thinking about one's own thinking and feeling. This process strengthens the neural pathways associated with that feeling. The more she thinks about how she acts when she's attracted to someone, the more her body and mind become primed to act that way, with you. You are, in essence, co-creating a feedback loop of attraction. Furthermore, you are establishing yourself as an emotional reader. You're not one of the men who needs a blatant, I like you, to understand what's happening. You can decode the subtleties. This positions you as perceptive, intelligent, and emotionally attuned. The moment she answers is your opportunity. Let's say she admits, I guess I get a little nervous, and I might laugh more than I usually do. You let a beat of silence pass, maintain eye contact with a knowing, gentle smile, and then you say, interesting, you've been doing that for the last 10 minutes. Delivered with calm confidence, not arrogance, this is devastatingly effective. It creates a moment of pure, unadulterated emotional tension. It's playful, it's bold, and it's flirtatious on a level that bypasses words and goes straight to the nervous system. You have just shown her that you not only asked for the map, but you were already reading the terrain. She will feel seen, exposed, and thrilled all at once. From that point on, she will be intensely aware of every little signal she sends you, and that very awareness will amplify her feelings. The fourth key delves into the sanctuary of her deepest vulnerabilities, but it does so with a key that only she can provide. You ask, what is your most secret weakness? The one only someone truly special could ever discover. This question is not an interrogation, it's a tender invitation. The wording is crucial. Secret weakness is intimate. Truly special is the qualifier that gives her all the power. You are not just asking for a vulnerability, you are asking her to consider if you might be the kind of person worthy of knowing it. You are simultaneously asking a question and paying a profound implicit compliment. If she grants you even a piece of this answer, she is subconsciously validating you as that truly special person. This question targets a fundamental human need, as described in attachment theory, the desire to be known and accepted, flaws and all. We all wear armor. We project an image of strength and competence. This question asks to see the person beneath the armor. A common response will be hesitation. I'm not sure I should share that. This is where your emotional intelligence shines. You don't press. You soften your gaze and say something like, "You don't have to say it out loud. But now, I can't help but wonder about it." This response is perfect. It releases the pressure, but magnifies the intrigue. You've planted a seed in her mind. She will start to wonder, what if he could see it? What if he would accept it? If she does decide to share something, even something small, you have been granted a sacred trust. Your response must be one of reverence. No advice, no solutions, just acceptance. A simple, "Thank you for trusting me with that," is more powerful than 1,000 words of comfort. You have just become a custodian of her inner world. The connection forged in a moment like this is not fleeting. It is deep and structural. You have moved beyond the realm of attraction and into the realm of profound bonding. The fifth key probes the intoxicating paradox of desire itself. It directly targets the friction between what she knows is safe and what she secretly craves. You ask, what does a man do that makes you feel he's dangerous, but in a way that makes you want him even more? This question is an act of emotional genius. It taps directly into the conflict at the heart of romantic desire, the tension between security and excitement. You are asking her to define the archetype of the charming rogue, the man who walks the fine line between being a protector and being a thrill. When she answers this question, she is not just telling you about a type of man. She is giving you the blueprint to her own internal attraction triggers. She is revealing what kind of danger she finds irresistible. Is it the danger of emotional unavailability? The man who doesn't seem to need her, but chooses her anyway? Is it intellectual danger? The man whose mind challenges and even intimidates her? Or is it the danger of unpredictability? The man who can be tender one moment and distant the next, creating a roller coaster of emotions? Her answer is pure gold. For example, if she says, "It's a man who is completely his own person, who isn't trying to please me. It's like his validation is the only one that matters." She has just handed you the key. She is telling you that she is attracted to a strong, independent frame and a sense of self-possession. Your role is not to then mimic these behaviors crudely. That would be inauthentic and transparent. Instead, you absorb this information. You understand the emotional state this archetype creates in her, and you embody the essence of it in your own authentic way. If she values independence, you demonstrate it by having your own passions, opinions, and by not being overly available. You're not playing a game. You are aligning your natural strengths with her known desires. You are using her answer to understand which facets of your own personality will be most resonant with her. It's not about becoming him. It's about activating the part of you that speaks the language her desire understands. The sixth key is an invitation to dance in the land of fantasy, to explore the self that exists without social constraints. You ask, what's the craziest thing you would do if you knew for a fact nobody would ever find out it was you? This is a question about her hidden self, her "id" in Freudian terms. It's about the impulses, desires, and ambitions that are constrained by ego and superego. her sense of self and societal rules. By framing it with the cloak of anonymity, you are giving her a get-out-of-jail-free card for her imagination. You are inviting her to be her most unfiltered, authentic, and perhaps wild self, with you as her sole confidant. The power of this question is not in the answer itself. In fact, you almost don't want a concrete answer. The magic is in the shared moment of imagining it. She will likely laugh, blush, and say, "Oh, I could never say that out loud." Perfect. That is the goal. Her mind is now racing with possibilities, and you are the person who sparked that exciting, liberating thought process. You can then lean in with a playful, conspiratorial whisper and say, "You don't have to tell me. Just thinking about it is a secret we now share." With that single sentence, you create an invisible thread of intimacy. You have established a shared reality that exists outside of the normal world, a little pocket of fantasy that belongs only to the two of you. This is psychologically potent. It makes your connection feel special, unique, and slightly elicit a powerful combination. It tells her that you are a man who is not confined by convention, who understands the allure of the unsaid, and who is safe enough to explore those fantasies with. It's a connection built not on what was said, but on what was deliciously left unsaid. The seventh key is deceptively simple and dangerously effective. It targets the precise moment of internal conflict when attraction begins to take hold against one's own will. You ask, how do you act when you start to fall for someone, but you're trying to fight it? This question is a laser-guided missile aimed at the heart of romantic denial. It's a universal experience, the feeling of losing control, of falling for someone when you didn't plan to, and the desperate attempt to conceal it. You aren't asking if she's falling for you. That would be clumsy and put her on the defensive. Instead, you are asking for her general pattern of behavior. You are asking for her strategy of concealment. Why is this so powerful? Because as she describes how she acts when she's fighting her feelings, she is mentally rehearsing that script. And if there is any budding attraction towards you, her brain will immediately make the connection. Am I doing this with him right now? You are forcing a moment of self-analysis with you as the subject. And here's the brilliant part. Any behavior she exhibits can now be interpreted through the very framework she just gave you. If she says, "I tend to pull away," or "I get quiet and a little cold, so they don't see how much they're affecting me," you have just been given a decoder ring for her behavior. The next time she seems a little distant, instead of feeling insecure, you will feel a surge of confidence. You can then, at the right moment, look at her with a gentle, all-knowing smile and say, "So if you suddenly get quiet around me, I'll know I'm on the right track." This is a checkmate move in the chess game of unspoken attraction. It disarms her defenses. She may deny it, she may laugh it off, but the seed has been planted. You have shown her that you see her, you understand her internal struggle, and you are not fooled by her defenses. This creates a level of emotional intimacy and playful tension that is almost impossible to resist. The eighth key is an archaeological dig into her emotional museum, seeking the most valuable artifact. You ask, what's the one thing a man has done that left the biggest mark on you, even long after he was gone? This question is a subtle reframe of the first key, but with a critical difference. It's not about the man. It's about the action. You are looking for the gesture, the phrase, the moment of presence or absence that became an indelible part of her emotional landscape. This gives you something far more valuable than an archetype. It gives you a specific pattern of behavior that she finds unforgettable. It's like asking a master locksmith which key design is most difficult to pick. Her answer provides a direct map to what she perceives as profound impact. Did he see a talent in her that no one else did? Did he offer a moment of profound, silent comfort during a difficult time? Did he challenge her in a way that forced her to grow? Perhaps it was a gesture of immense thought and care that made her feel, as you said, like she was the only person in the world. Whatever the answer, it is a piece of her emotional code. The Machiavellian strategy here is clear but must be executed with elegance. You are listening for the emotional need behind the action. If she describes a man who made her feel utterly seen, the underlying need is for perception and validation. If she describes a man who challenged her, the need is for growth and intellectual sparring. You don't copy the specific action. You embody the principle. You begin to demonstrate, in your own unique way, that you are a man who can meet that same deep-seated need. By doing so, you are not replacing the old memory. You are creating a new, more present, and more powerful one. You are effectively telling her subconscious, that feeling you've been missing, I can give you that, right here, right now. This process of emotional resonance makes you feel less like a new person and more like a homecoming. The ninth key is a beautiful trap for the logical mind, designed to open the door to irrational, undeniable chemistry. You ask, has it ever happened to you that you were intensely drawn to someone and you couldn't understand why? This is a question that validates the magic of attraction itself. It invites her to admit that connection isn't always a checklist of pros and cons. Sometimes it's just a feeling, a chemistry, an illogical, inexplicable pull. It's a question that gently dismantles the logical mind and gives permission for the emotional, intuitive mind to take the lead. The strategic brilliance lies in what the question implies. By asking it, you introduce the possibility that this very phenomenon could be happening right now, between the two of you. You are creating a framework for her to understand any confusing feelings she might be having about you. When she answers, yes, that's happened, and it's so confusing, you have the perfect opening. You can look at her with a calm, steady gaze and say, sometimes the things we can't explain are the most real things of all. You let that sentence hang in the air. The silence that follows is charged with meaning. Her mind will inevitably begin to race. Is he talking about us? Am I feeling that way about him? Is that why I feel so different around him? You have triggered what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Her feelings might not align with her logical assessment. To resolve this dissonance, her mind will start searching for reasons to justify the feeling. It will start to magnify your positive qualities and reinterpret your interactions to make sense of this inexplicable pull. You haven't told her she's attracted to you. You've simply created the perfect psychological conditions for her to come to that conclusion on her own. And a conclusion she reaches herself is 1,000 times more powerful than one you could ever suggest. And now, the final key. The one that doesn't just open a door, but offers to build a home. It is the most powerful, because it speaks to the deepest human longing of all. You ask, if there were someone who could understand you perfectly without you ever having to explain yourself, what place would they have in your life? This is not a question. It is an echo of her soul's deepest desire, the desire to be seen, to be known, to be accepted unconditionally, to finally be able to put down the heavy burden of explaining, justifying, and defending who you are. With this one question, you are painting a picture of a perfect emotional sanctuary, and you are subtly placing yourself in the frame. You are not asking, can I be that person for you? You are asking her to define the role herself. You are making her imagine, in vivid detail, the value of such a connection. Her answer, whatever it is, will be spoken with a sense of reverence and longing. She might say, that person would be everything, or that's a connection I've searched for my whole life. Her answer is not the point. The vision you've induced in her mind is the point. You have made her feel the desire for that connection, a desire now linked to your presence. Your final move is one of masterful restraint. After she answers, you let a moment of silence pass. Then, you look at her, not with hunger, but with understanding, and you say softly, maybe a connection like that isn't as impossible as you think. You don't elaborate. You don't explain. You let that statement stand on its own, a powerful, hopeful promise. You let her silence be her answer. In that silence, she's not just talking to you anymore. She's talking to the possibility you represent. These 10 keys, these questions, are not a script to be memorized. They are instruments to be mastered. Their power lies not in the words themselves, but in the intention behind them. Intention of genuine, fearless curiosity. They will fail if used as cheap tricks by a man seeking only to conquer. But in the hands of a man who genuinely wants to understand, who has the courage to explore the depths of another's soul, they become something else entirely. They become the keys to unlocking a level of connection so profound, it transcends mere attraction and becomes the foundation for something truly unforgettable. The man who asks the right questions doesn't need to beg for her affection. He simply creates a space where her soul feels safe enough to come out and play. And that, in the end, is the greatest seduction of all.